Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's your favorite paranormal investigator here. My name's Tim Sedano. This is Paranormal Insight, and on today's show, we're going to be talking about the aliens out there. What do we know about them? What's really going on with them? We've seen all kinds of stuff related to what they may look like, what some claim are actual creatures from other worlds and or dimensions. And we've even had, like I said, some leaked stuff, purportedly leaked stuff. No one's confirmed anything. And that's my biggest gripe when it comes to the whole UFO release thing is, yeah, they're telling us stuff we already kind of knew, but they're kind of confirming it. Chiefly, that's it. There's a few fun photo and video things that are out there. It's like, oh, I didn't see that before, or I didn't see that in its entirety before. And yeah, it's semi-redacted because, which makes zero sense. I mean, honestly, unless they're hiding technology in these different video systems or video capture systems, either on our aircraft or other targeting vehicles or systems like that. So okay, I get it, but it's not even the redaction that really bugs me. At least it hasn't been the heavily redacted, like they invented. Sorry, I got to turn that down. That was my phone. Yeah. Okay. That's from our guest joining us in the second hour. Yeah, the second hour, Jen Mondo from 305 Paranormal going to join us, so that should be a lot of fun. So it's not even the redaction farm that gets me going per se. I mean, if you're going to release things right, you're going to heavily redact like that, why release in the first place? Just to satisfy the fact that it's an unreleasable release. That is to say, or rather, it's a releasable release, but it's a heavily edited and or redacted. So what's the point? It's like, well, I wouldn't mind that being upfront. If we can release it, but it'll be redacted up the wazoo, so what's the point in doing it? You really want a blacked out page? I can give you a blacked out page. So yeah, are state secrets required and needed? Yes. When it comes to military and government operations, I think that is entirely acceptable. Sorry, I gotta adjust my fan. It's causing a little bit of a rumble on the mic. There we go. Okay. Yes, as I was saying, secrets. It's similar to neighbors and fences. Good fences make good neighbors, because not everyone needs to know your business. And we can kind of get into that if you really, 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 really wanted to. But this is a paranormal show. I may start a current events show at one point or another, because I think we need to talk about it more than it's already being talked about. So more on that later. Big hello to all one of you who's watching me. You just popped in on the Paranormal Insight channel, which I do highly recommend you go to. It'll help me out too on the personal YouTube page. I don't mind if you go through the UFO Paranormal Radio YouTube page. That's fine. I can adapt those. They translate to my numbers, but it would be helpful if you were to come through Paranormal Insight itself. But however you get us, fantastic. That's good stuff. So let me briefly share with you a fun little graphic I came up with because we need to talk about the aliens. So, for those who are just listening to us, I am bringing, perhaps you can hop on YouTube later and rewatch this. Remember, go to the live section of YouTube because YouTube is having all kinds of extra fun with me. And they're not putting up the newer stuff on the videos channel. You have to go to the live channel. So, just FYI about that. I'll show you perhaps an example of that in a little bit. Actually, you know what? I'm going to show you an example of that now. So let me do this real quick. I hadn't planned to do this, but nonetheless, I think it might be worth it. Oh yeah, there we go. Perfect. So paranormal insight. And you got a lot of stuff with Paranormal Insight. But it should, for me, when I entered that, it was the second one, the green PI. So let's get that into a new window. There we go. And now I will share that with you. Okay. This is good stuff. So it does show you the updates, but if you go to, okay, hold on. Let me get there for you guys so we know what's going on here. All right, so remove, add to state. Nope, got to change that again. That was a fun graphic. I'll bring that back in a minute. Hello to Heidi. Good day to you as well. Welcome to the chat. So happy to have you here. Again, folks, we are live, and if you want to chat with me or any of the other folks in the chat room, come on down. Wherever you're seeing us live, you're more than welcome to join us. So let me go ahead and share a screen here real quick, just so I can help you guys navigate to the right place. And this is what it looks like. You know what? I think I will work on that. Yeah, I'll do that. Okay, so hopefully you can see my cursor. So, you know, there's a few of my shorts, and there's a few of my videos. But if you look at my videos, it was from a year ago. All right, so that's not cool. But again, videos, the last one's from like a year ago. So go to the live tab, and there's the latest and greatest, the stuff we've done in the past, and it sticks there for some reason. I don't know why. I didn't get anything from YouTube, and I really don't want to dig into it with them because they tend to get a little political. So that's today's thing. We are live. If I were to click on this, you'd see me all day doing the weird robot thing. So we're not going to do that. But remember, if you visit us, it's Paranormal Insight at Paranormal Insight. Well, I don't know why they do that. I'm going to zoom in on that if I can. No, I can't. Okay. Here it is. You go at Paranormal Insight there. That's us. And then you go to live and you'll see all the stuff we were live on in the past. That's the only way to see the newest stuff. Ta-da! Now you've seen it, and we'll go back to the actual show. I think. Add myself. Oh, I see. That happened. Okay, well, it doesn't matter. I want to show you this anyway. So let's go back to sharing that screen and go here. This is largely in thanks to, as far as putting together content and putting it out there for the world. This kind of comes on the heels of the David Grush thing in New Mexico, where he popped on and said a few things, and they're moving for disclosure in a big bad way, full disclosure in a big bad way. And these are the types they have acknowledged to a degree. This is an AI generated image. That's why the tall Nordic fella here is supposed to be Nordic. And I said that in the AI, and they gave me someone, Ragnar Lothbrok from Vikings, or maybe even Rollo, actual historical characters. P.S. So your tall Nordic guy, typically blonde, the little gray, the insectoid, the reptilian, although he kind of looks like a Vulcan there, but that guy is supposed to be a reptilian. And then David Grush in his latest thing mentioned, I think he's mentioned it before, plasmoids. This is what AI came up with, and it's kind of what I had in my head, but whether that's accurate or not is a completely different story. So plasmoids, okay. Yeah, bundles of coherent, intelligent energy. Some say that's what we are, riding the physical form. And perhaps these plasmoid entities have figured out how to exist as pure thought, which is pretty cool. Hello to Sherry. I'm doing well. I hope you're doing well as well. Wow. That could have been way better grammatically speaking, but I digress. I'm so glad to have you guys here. Yes, we are live. Thank you. Thanks for hashtagging the live. I appreciate that. Yeah, Sherry, I'm having fun with language today. So these are our 5 main characters, but there are more. So let me move ahead here in the nope. Okay, so more examples of Nordics. Another example of a reptilian, again with the pointed ears. I've never had the pointed ears happen. Again, these are AI generated images, so they're gonna take a little bit of a liberty with the creative stuff. I think, okay, a gray. This is actually pulled from someone snuck something out, which I thought was kind of cool. And the one thing I like about him is his uniform. You don't really see it that well because it's black and white, but this is clearly a uniform. You can see the line for the shirt right there. Apparently, this is an image that was snuck out back in the 50s or 60s. And this is the doorbell cam alien. He kind of reminds me of one of the Xanti Misfits. If you ever seen the old school Outer Limits, the Xanti Misfits were these, they're about that big around, and they had faces just like that, except they're this small. This is their whole body right here, and they crawl around like ants and stuff like that. Xanti Misfits, yeah. Cheaty McGreedy agrees with me on that one. But this is the doorbell guy, and he was poking around. I don't know. And then there's these guys which never get mentioned. And it's so strange because these are the guys I saw. Me and Charles Hall saw these guys and dealt with these guys. Are they being confused with the Nordics? I don't think so, because the Nordics look decidedly more human like us. These guys look like a hybrid between the Nordics and the taller grays, which we didn't really see an example of. But yeah, the Charles Hall tall whites, as he calls them, because they are alabaster white, like the color of this page right here, white. So they're pretty uniquely, and I hope the term isn't too offending, albino in their complexion. Yes, Jen and Mondo will be on in the second hour. So just so you know, Cheaty McGreedy, that's what's happening. But so those are our okay. I don't know where to classify this guy. He's he looks quasi insectoid to me, except for the humanoid mouth and the nose ish and the buggy eyes. I don't know, but I don't know. We'll land. Oh, I yawned. We'll land on insectoid for now, but yeah. So I think he comes closest to this dude, but these are the 5 we're typically dealing with. However, the pantheon for these guys is insanely large, just insanely. They're huge. It's freaking gigantic, and it is not enough to say that there's so much variety in the universe. Although I will say every single one of the creatures seen here are basically, with an exception or 5, like us. 2 arms, 2 legs, a single head. Number of digits differs here and there. They gave this reptilian guy humanoid feet. It's AI. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, they turned this guy into Ragnar Lothbrok, so who knows? But another image I want to share to really kind of demonstrate the potential variety. This image comes from Danan. What's her name? Oh gosh, last name Danan. French experiencer, has done a lot of stuff. I think she still has a weekly podcast where she talks about the galactic situation, because she's in touch with the Galactic Federation that is in part overseeing Earth and may interfere with Earth's issues at one point or another. Should we ever go nuclear, I guess? I don't know. That's a wild guess on my part. But I'll put that up for you guys to take a look at. But it is an intensely large map. But you're going to see here, by and large, and mind you, and thank you, Elena Danan. I appreciate that, Sherry. Appreciate that. A big. That's big. Thanks. Again, can't talk today, Sherry, but here we go. So this is Elena Danan's map. And she drew this, and it's in French. Legende. My French is terrible. My apologies to anyone who speaks it. But they have a lot of very familiar things. And I'll start here at the bottom or work our way around. The lettering and all that kind of gets a little, there's a code to it. Like blue is benevolent, black is neutral, and red is malevolent. It's like they don't give a darn about us. So maybe you've seen these. Okay, so I want you to look at this guy. We saw this guy on a hospital bed in Brazil. Remember, they photographed him. A lot of people are saying it's AI. A lot of people saying it's legit. But remember those 3 bumps there? Ta-da! And Elena apparently is a graphic artist, and she's seen all these guys. Now I want to go over here to the Talascuri, and I want you to take a look at those eyes and the wide bridge of that nose, the blonde hair. This is kind of looking like what I would perceive as a little less than what Charles Hall said. This may be an indication of a tall white rather than a Nordic. And I say that because if we go up here, P.S. I've seen these people in my head. I'll go into that in a later time. But we go over here to a tall Nordic. Okay. And I dig that she includes the kind of starships they have. P.S. Dig that starship. I want one. That is right in line with something I'd fly around in. But I digress. But she has a myriad of things here, and you could tell there's some hybridization throughout. Now that, and there's humanoid stuff around. There's semi-ethereal people here who live in this case, the 9th dimension, which I found really interesting. So now we're talking about dimensional beings, we've been talking about dimensional aliens for a while. Now she gets this, and I would put this out there. These are also higher dimensional entities that came down in their old forms when they have physical forms, but usually they look like these guys here, these crystals or these floating globs of energy, and these are the plasmoid types, I think. Now, I will say again, she saw all this via her implant. She's an experiencer herself. She's a very good artist, but she also has a something. My French is terrible, but anyway. So her artistry aside, she also has seen these things for herself, either via her implant, which was apparently an abduction interrupted. So the bad guys abducted her, so the story goes, and they were implanting her. They finished it. One of these hero guys, she's mean looking, kind of like this guy here, showed up, kind of kicked the door in, saved her, kicked the door in, so to speak. I'm sure there aren't proper doors there, but they saved her. They brought her back to the ship, and they kept her unawares and mind wiped and all that fun stuff. But she kept having dreams, and their goal was to basically unseat and take out the implant they gave her in the head, and apparently it was wedged right between the brain lobes of the brain, and even by their technology, they couldn't pull it off. But what they could do is change it. I'm so sorry. And I think at her request, because I guess they'd taken her up and back a few times, she actually started recalling things. This is before hypnoregression. She actually I think she's one of the few people that actually recalled things on her own, because they kept bringing her up and putting her back so much that at her request, I think that she asked the right questions and say, hey, can you turn this into some sort of transmitter? I mean, you obviously have a message for Earth, and that's kind of been her whole thing ever since, is that, they're worried about Earth and wants to take a more peaceful, unified thing. We've heard that story before from not only Elena Danan, but other experiencers who have been, for lack of a better term, the mouthpiece for these various alien civilizations. So here's our gray friend, and kind of what I was trying to represent in that AI generated thing I showed you at the beginning. But yeah, so she gets this implant. She's been in regular, very common contact with these people. That's her story, and she's sticking to it, because I think she still does her weekly broadcasts. So that's interesting. And we have, like I said, interesting variations on the theme. So we have a gray person here, we have a gray person here, and they both relatively look the same. The eyes are a little different, but they all seem to be part of this. You'll see the little gray alien head here, part of that established thing, and it looks like they might even be from, nope, they're not even close to the same neighborhood. Here's a reptilian type. There's this guy. Now, we have seen this guy before. I don't know about the flashlights coming out of his head, but we've seen his ship before. That looks familiar. But we've seen this guy before because he's mentioned in Travis Walton's thing. Because when he's hypno-regressed, he sees the little gray guys, but something like this guy is kind of pinkish in color in a leadership role. And also, was it him? No, it was the lawyer after him. Sorry, I'm thinking about that documentary that just came out called Experiencers. But yeah, that's kind of what he looked like. A little minor mouth. I don't know. Again, I don't know about the lights coming out the eyes. That may be artistic, whatever there. Apparently, the theories about these guys being techno-organic androids is true. That's French for inorganic. That is the X5 Taikut. I don't know. And apparently these guys, these very mean-looking gray aliens, these are the taller gray aliens we have heard of before, are not on our side. Note their name is in red. And even have their flag there. These guys are in red, and I'm not sure they have this Darth Maul thing going for them there. And I'm not sure I really want to meet them because their image would probably freak me out a little bit. But I'm not sure if these are people or like personal names, proper names, or if they're species names. But again, she goes on and on and on. I want you to look at all the wild variation. We've seen that before. We have pictures of that. We have busts, Egyptian and Mayan, descriptions of people with that kind of a head. So keep that in mind. I don't know why she's wearing a genie dress, but apparently she's seen that's what they look like. Humanoid. Those eyes look a little big to me. But again, look at them. She even goes into the reptilians over here, so the Dracos and certain people. And if you follow these lines down, we see what star systems they come from, which is pretty cool. I mean, it's so accurate. And if it's completely made up, kudos, man, because I think she called the ball on a bunch of different, what are those called? Extra, oh gosh, dude, you worked at NASA. The planets that are Earth-like or in the Goldilocks zones, exoplanets. Haha, I got there, exoplanets. So she called the ball on a bunch of exoplanets before, Earth science did, which is really kind of cool. And that, yeah, I think that's very, very interesting. Last week, let's see if I can find it here. It's really, really simple to find if you know what you're looking for. But of course, I'm blanking hardcore, and I'm looking for what's called the net, or a reticula. So it may be called that. Pleiades. Okay, we're in around here somewhere. Anywho, it doesn't matter. I was hoping I could find a reticula because I wanted to draw those lines for you to the creatures that Betty and Barney Hill saw and all that fun. P.S. Betty and Barney Hill's thing has come under fire very, very recently, and the story is that they were card-carrying communists, which I don't really believe. But I wouldn't really look more insectoids. That's kind of cool. Those are straight up insectoids, these guys. And they're kind of semi-neutral. Some are on our side, some aren't. And they come from Mantis M104 in the galactic or in our star field. Anyway, so they were called communists, and they were called this was part of and they were doing things outside the box, interracial couples. So they were watched heavily, apparently, by our government. And the whole thing was just a deep state trick. And they went even under retro hypnosis. They say, well, the hypnosis worked and reinforced what was put into their brains to cover up the truth in the first place, because the hypnotist, hold on, let me go big for this one, because the hypnotist, he was a army guy who helped PTSD laden soldiers, shell-shocked soldiers, as they called it back in the day, shell-shocked, helped them overcome their issues. And he would later be part of the Air Force, which I believe is true. Factually true, but it's my personal recollection versus what this guy was saying. And that's why the story became more and more solid and more consistent. Now I got a problem with that. Building a narrative like that is really weird because, and I'll give you two examples. The two reasons why I don't necessarily buy into that. That it was, actually, I'll give you two conflicting points. I'm so sorry. So the first point in favor of that theory is that these advanced creatures used, and I've said it before, hypodermic needles. Okay. We here on Earth, that was 61 when that happened. So we here on Earth about 10 years later developed jet injectors given our level of technology, which basically takes air and pushes it, the plunger where whatever medicine or drug or whatever it is you want to call it is injected directly through the skin, Star Trek style. Remember Star Trek? Psst, right? Like that. So that always bugged me that they used hypodermics. So that's in favor of that theory. I mean, kind of way out there. Why would such advanced beings need a classic needle and plunger? In favor of Betty and Barney Hill is the Pleiades star system map, which predated by, again, a decade, which is a weird recurring thing. They were about a decade ahead of being discovered here on Earth, or being released, perhaps. But the complete picture of the Pleiades star cluster wasn't really fully realized or fermented by science. Realized until about 71, 72. And by a brilliant, it took a very brilliant NASA astronomer whose name escapes me now, but I talked about her a couple episodes back, who put that together. Not only did she put that together, but she was able to look at Betty and Barney Hill's star map, realize it was upside down and reversed. Because our star shows up in that map that they were shown. I wonder if I could bring that up still. Yeah. Okay. Let me call this up real quick. So I will stop sharing. That's a downside of the system, man. I think I've said that before, but okay. So here it is. And we're kind of bouncing around a little bit. I know we're supposed to be talking about aliens, and we kind of are. But this is the map Betty said she was shown. This is a real map. No names here. Oh, so sorry. But there are names here because this brilliant astronomer figured out what they're looking at. And they're looking at it from a star system about, if we're looking at this together, this is relatively, as far as the perspective is from a star system, pretty much as you see it, some maybe 26 light years away from Zeta Reticuli A and B. So again, Zeta Reticuli 1 and or A, you flip it and then you reverse it, and so their north is our south, so on and so forth. But you'll notice up here, and I'll zoom in on it. Believe it or not, I will zoom in on it. The sun, that's us, soul. Okay. And the astronomer figured that out. And that was a question by the alien. Can you figure out where you are in this map? And she says, and this is the map. And she said, I have no freaking clue. And then the alien flippantly, telepathically says, well, if you don't know where you are, what's the point of me telling you where we're from? It's kind of flippant response in my personal estimation, but I digress. I've been doing that a lot this episode, but here we go. Let's get back to what these aliens are to us. And mind you, we've had very few, if any, confirmations of this. But I do want to share one thing with you, and it just occurred to me to bring it to your attention. So please bear with me while I get this situated. But maybe I played this for everyone before. Let's just go there, man. I'm not okay. But there was a Hollywood producer. He's done some stuff, and he was talking about this, that, the other thing regarding an encounter he had, and this is with a Nordic type. All right, so he and it'll take me a minute to find it. I'm sorry. He basically said, "So I'm visiting this remote area. I'm somewhere up in, I think he said Canada. Don't quote me on that one, but I think he said Canada, and I'm staying with friends, and we're going to, I go for a walk, and I crest this little ridge and I go down, and at the top of the next little ridge, leading right not too far from the lake, I guess they were by a lake. He says, there's a very tall man standing there, blonde hair, wearing kind of draped clothing. And he says, "Why, hello there." And I think his name is Bradley. Says, "Hello, Bradley." And Bradley, who this guy who's telling the story, says, "Oh, I stopped dead in my tracks." It's like, yeah, you're way over there. And I'm saying maybe 100 yards away, if I remember the story right. Again, it's better if he tells it, but I don't know. I can't see. Here he is. So, gosh, she has 3 of them too now. So here's hoping I get the right one.
Is the director of Texas Chainsaw Massacre and the director of Poltergeist. You were scouting location. So we are in an area called New Hall Ranch. We're looking for a place where we can shoot our crop circle sequence. And we're having dinner or lunch or whatever it was. And I'm sitting with Toby because he's a friend of mine. And I said to him, "So Toby, you're finally going to have one up on Steven." Because
Hold on. Okay, so let me get this up here. I'm just making sure I got the right piece. But in fact, I'm going to go out and start this over because Spielberg's latest thing is actually kind of congruent to what's going on. But if it's not this, it's one of these 3 things. He talks about his alien encounter, but I think all 3 stories are worth taking a look at. So bear with me. Hopefully you can hear it. Okay, now okay, so I'm going to lower the mic. You can see the mic. There's my mic. I'm going to lower it over here so you can hear him a little bit better. And here we go.
Close Encounters is based on a true story. Toby Hooper is the director of Texas Chainsaw Massacre and the director of Poltergeist. You were scouting location. So we are in an area called New Hall Ranch. We're looking for a place where we can shoot our crop circle sequence. And we're having dinner or lunch or whatever it was. And I'm sitting with Toby because he's a friend of mine. And I said to him, "So Toby, you're finally going to have one up on Steven." Because I know he's very competitive with his buddy Steven Spielberg. And he goes, "What do you mean?" And I said, "Well, you're going to be the first one to put a crop circle on film." And he hasn't done that yet. And he's like, "Yeah, I'm never going to beat Steven in that category." And I go, "Well, what do you mean? Why?" And he goes, "After Jaws, he was like really big deal. And he apparently he got approached by some guys from Naval Intelligence or something. And he came and offered him a deal. And he got all sorts of information. I mean, Close Encounters is based on a true story." And I was like, "What?" And he says, "Yeah, I mean, E.T. too. Like he got access to a bunch of really like interesting case files and stuff."
You believe that? That's incredible. That is amazing to me. And it's not, as I call it the next thing, I'll try and be a little more diligent about how I get this information out there. But yeah, that's I think that's incredible. And it is not the first time I've heard that at all. Because I think I've relayed this story before. The Hollywood producers have been tapped and had their finger on the pulse and vice versa with the intelligence community of the United States for a very long time. A lot of our predictive programming stuff comes through those channels, and they're more benign than you might think. Sometimes it's straight up being in a room. I mean, there was an operation in place for a while where Hollywood directors and producers and intelligence folks would literally get together for like pizza or cards or something along those lines. And the government guys would go, okay, we need some out of the box thinking about how to deal with this scenario. And they were just the way that Hollywood guys tell it. And that's somewhere in my very large archive. Digging for it would not be prudent at this point. But the story basically goes, yeah, so we were approached. I'm sorry, that's my mic there. We were approached and we just need people to think outside the boxes with the intelligence guys things to say, because think tanks and our military guys are just too disciplined to come up with very basic solutions to these potential issues that will crop up not only on the national and international stage, but potentially in the stellar and interstellar stages as well. Especially, and this is, I think we just achieved the moon landing. Yes, I know not everyone believes in the moon landing, and I will say it 1,000 times and make this 1,001. If you get the right kind, not the right telescope, but telescope with the right kind of magnification, you can actually see our equipment up there. Yes, it was filmed by Kubrick or someone very much like him to, as far as filming a person, because you don't want anything to go wrong. But I want you all to take a moment and watch the film / hidden plain sight kind of thing, which kind of explains how that all went down. The names were changed, but the operation was basically this, although I don't think it was on the same base. I wasn't on Cape Canaveral. That doesn't make sense. But so there was a stage set up somewhere way in the back of an airbase somewhere or something like that, where they did stage and plan to stage the moon landing. But Sherry's here. Yay. Oh, your phone went wonky. I'm sorry to hear that. But it is, it's called Fly Me to the Moon. I like this movie. It was very, I guess, telling. And it told what as far as I know from my own personal sources and research and experience, to be more or less true of the actual what happened, what's going on at the moon landing. A lot of people think, oh, look at how the camera moved when they lifted off. Yeah, it's called radio control, and was way more advanced than people gave us credit for. Because we didn't fly up there on tubes. I mean, we had computers about the size of a suitcase that didn't use tape drives for the first time. That was there. Because if you visit the the LEMs that these guys landed on the moon in, and they're barely there. There's not a lot of room for sure. You have to be kind of like this, and you have to be a beanpole to be in there. I think I'd be too big to be astronaut material unless we're flying the space shuttle. But for those days, you had to be really like 0% body fat type of thing. And probably not that, but I mean, anyway. So, but you'll see a lot of components are missing from those LEMs. And it's because those were the tapeless drives they used, or they used circular tape drives. But they had a problem with that because there's a gravity issue that they were unsure if it would work. And so what they did is they miniaturized a static memory cell. I don't want to bother you with the details on that, but basically it was a first incarnation of a SSD, or a static state drive. See, I got one right here. And that is way more powerful than what they had on the ship. That held maybe 2 megabytes of information. And that's, yeah. So anyway, I'm sorry, I went off on a little tech tangent there. The moon seems different to you lately. There may be a minor color shift. because they're detected a lot of more rust on the moon lately, which means there's water interacting with iron or iron oxide, or making iron oxide. And there is, I mean, we have enough metal up there to start oxidizing stuff. So there's probably a little bit of contamination on our part as far as that goes. So if you talk about the coloration, sure. For me, I haven't really noticed that much of a difference. Although it seems to me the face kind of altered a little. And I think there was something about a major impact on the moon maybe a decade or two ago that kind of was under the radar because they didn't want to panic anyone. But it was mentioned in like some, and it may have shifted things a little bit. So we'll see if it self-corrects or if it stays that way. Because the face was like that. If you remember the face of the moon, kind of like this, and now it's kind of like this. I have a big round bald head, so I thought I'd show that off. I hope that makes sense. So it did shift a little bit. So that's a heavy duty impact to influence a sizable astral body. Thankfully it didn't knock it out of orbit, which is good. Have you seen that weird movie, Moon Landing or Moon something? The moon's coming too close to the Earth, and there's a whole bunch of conspiracy stuff in there. And it was I didn't like it. It wasn't my favorite film, but you know what? We're here to talk aliens, not my weird experiences. I believe this is the one.
He said aliens are real.
Okay, excellent. This is the one. All right, so let me go back out, and we're going to hear from this guy again. Who is this guy? You might be asking. Let me figure that. This is Brent. I said Brandon before. His name is Brent Friedman. Episode with Bryce Zabel. Yeah, Brent Friedman. That's who's talking. So let's get to Brent and see what he has to say. I'll add him to the stage here, and we're going to take a look at this video.
Aliens are real. They're here, and I've seen them. Just like that. Just like, here, I'll throw you a bone, kid. And I said, well, are they alive? And he paused, and he said, I can't say. I said, you can't say or you won't say? And he said, I can't say. Okay, well, hold on a second. If what you're saying is true, how does everyone not know about it? And he said, oh, lots of people know about it. You can walk into any bookstore, and you're going to find all sorts of books on the shelves with lots of truth. But right next to them are the books that we publish, full of propaganda. It's a multi-billion-dollar campaign to cover up the truth. And I was like, why does the truth have to be covered up? And he said, look, we live in a God-fearing country. There's only one thing that keeps this world spinning, gives everybody the control they need. That's the global economy. If you disrupt that by taking away the reason for people to live their lives, everything falls apart, and governments of the world will not be able to control the populace. What's the advantage of giving people the truth?
Okay, that is diabolical. And he was talking to an insider in the government stuff. Again, not the alien clip I was looking for. So let me find that for you. But I personally think that's a big cop-out. I'm in the middle of watching Steven Spielberg's latest Disclosure Day, so don't spoil it for me. But early on they're saying, well, if we don't have a religion is the only thing that holds us together as a society, similar to what this other guy said about economics. But anywho, you know who I have for you. I got friends for you. They're not actually, we're going to keep in the green room for right now. And we're going to do a quick little break, and then we'll come back. Is that okay over there in the green room? Excellent. Okay. We'll bring them in a second, and we'll go from there. Okie doke. So give us just a minute. We'll see you in 2 minutes after we look at a few words from, well, sponsors and me. This is the United Public Radio Network, 107.7 FM in New Orleans and 105.3 in the Gulf Coast. UPRN Talkradio.com. Esoteric programming at its finest.
Long ago in the ancient world, the Trebus Omnes Lux, later known as the Tridents, were celebrated heroes, defenders of humanity against unspeakable monsters. Today, they continue that sacred duty in secret, hunting the dark evils that lurk just beyond the shadows. They are the Trident of Light.
Introducing Story TV, enabling true creative freedom for independent creators. Search an ever-growing library of fantastic festival winners, including Blaney Tucker's Ghost and the Monster Hunters of the TOL. Free to enjoy at lower resolutions, pay $5 per month for 1080 and full K presentations to support the artists you enjoy. Your monthly contribution actually goes to the filmmakers themselves. Support independent film. Support Story TV. Check out our Patreon. Get deeper behind-the-scenes insights. Also, tips into being a better paranormal investigator and other fascinating content. Follow us on Instagram at paranormal.insight. Stay informed on upcoming shows, see what paranormal trends we're following, and help us reach 50,000 followers by liking, following, and sharing. Don't forget to follow us on YouTube at paranormal_insight. Click the live tab to see our latest videos. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Tim Sedano. This is still Paranormal Insight. And joining us from Florida is the one, the only 305 Paranormal team, Jen Mondo. I think we just have Jen right now, though. Hey, Jen, welcome.
Hey, he just walked in from work, so he's changing his shirt.
Okay, let him clean up. That's cool.
How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good.
They Jen and Mondo were kind enough to have me on their show last week or this last weekend. So that was a blast. We had a lot of fun. Yeah. That was cool. But we're talking about aliens this time and the various characters in this narrative. I don't know if you've been following along or if you just popped in.
Here and there.
Here and there. You got a life. I get it. Got life to live. Not that you guys don't have a life. You're more multitask oriented than I am, though. So if I'm gonna watch something, I'm gonna sit down and watch it. That's all I'm saying.
I was looking at you pulled up a map, and I thought that map was pretty interesting. I don't know.
Yeah, that's Lena Danon's map. That's pretty cool. That's all from her apparent direct connection with alien beings, the Nordic types apparently. But that's cool stuff. I wanted to play this clip, and maybe we'll get your opinion on it. This is, I just forgot his name, Brent or something like that. And he's been telling us little stories about what he encountered when he sat down with an intelligence guy who said, well, we can't, there's lots of people telling the truth already. You go to any bookstore, and maybe you saw this clip. You go to any bookstore, tons of accounts of actual UFO things.
Oh, yeah.
And then right next to that is a bunch of books saying this is all hokum. That's us. Yeah. We're doing that. That's a $500 million with a B dollar, counter campaign to all that.
Got it.
Which is just unnerving. And the thing is, they cited economics. I'm in the middle of watching Steven Spielberg's Disclosure Day, and they're citing religion as the very tender glue that is holding all this together. And I'm calling BS on that big time, because at least for the most part, I would say that, it'll just be another news day. It'll be big news, but I mean, I don't think the world's going to fall apart. I really don't.
I don't think the world fall apart. I mean, they keep fear mongering that. I believe, but I think it's more of they just don't want us to know what they have. Kind of like what you talked about on Sunday's show.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh yeah. I mean, they've been testing this stuff. They have, I think I talked about the. Well, maybe I didn't on your show. I've talked about on this show a few times. Where they were talking about. So there was these security guards at Vandenberg, and so they're walking their patrol. I overheard this while I was at NASA. I was in the commissary there, and I usually don't go to the commissary, by the way, back then, but this time I did because I forgot to pack a lunch. So I sit down, I get this mediocre roast beef sandwich, and I'm doing my thing, and I hear these two guards talking. Now we had just switched. As far as our military support went from Navy to Air Force. So we just switched. And the Air Force guys they came in for them. They came in at the perfect time because NASA administration just agreed to sell beer in the commissary. So everyone was woohoo about that one. I think wine too was offered. But, in moderation, you can only have one beer per customer. They had rules about it, but that's beside the point. So these guys are talking at the table behind me, right? And I said, "Did you ever hear about the Vandenberg UFO?" No, I've heard there's been UFOs sighted. This one guy says, and the other guy, no. This thing happens on the regular. And it's like, really? Yeah. I heard about it from, and he mentioned my CO doing something. And he says. He warned us about it. It's like, okay, this is off the books. You may see this. And what he describes is these two guys are on patrol. And I know we're talking about aliens, but I wanted to tell the story real quick.
No, I mean, it's related.
So we're on patrol, and it kind of leads into something else I want to talk about. So they're on patrol, and they're walking toward the back end of the base. And there's a few warehouses out there. There's like an auxiliary tower out there, and not too much, but enough to be, to include their patrol and also check the fence perimeter. And so they're walking along, and they kind of get this weird little feeling as they walk through the certain section, and suddenly it's there. They look up, and I'll see if I can find a picture as I describe this. They look up, and they see this long, maybe mile. It was long. It was cigar shaped, and it had a little teeny tiny American flag on it compared to the rest of the ship. But there are these dudes and I can't remember if they call them Mississippi carts, but they're those long flatbeds that are. Sometimes they're motorized, sometimes they're hand pushed, but they're huge and they carry a lot, and they pile a lot of cargo on there. And these dudes in Soko suits, head to toe hazmat, right? White hazmat suits are pushing these things along from this one little loading area into a warehouse around the corner. The doors are like half open. They have the two doors, and you can open one side. Well, that's what it was. They push it in, and then there's this whoosh, blue flash from inside. Then up on the ship, there's a corresponding whoosh, blue flash inside this little, I don't know, hangar bay, I guess you can call it. But it looked like a deck at the lower portion of this ship. So let me see if we can find that real quick. And they, it was so cool. So they sit there, they have their own guards and stuff around, just kind of doing this thing. There's nothing on their roster, nothing on their memos, nothing in their briefings about this activity. So it's secretive, obviously. And they are kind of, taken aback, and they hide a little bit. And so they watch this happen, and then they say, "Oh, okay, wow, we got to report this." And so they kind of back up. They get that funny tingly feeling all over them. And whatever they were looking at suddenly disappears behind this cloaking field that apparently this ship is emitting. Because once they step back, they can see nothing at all. It's not there. It just looks like the normal deserty environment and the runway and the rest of it. So, for whatever reason, it hid just the ship and just the people. Everything else, maybe it was a holographic projection. We don't know. And he goes on to say, and we report this, and we get told. That's when we get told the story. Or no, that's when these guys get told. Oh yeah, we've seen that before. They've been doing it for a while. This does not go in your logs. You do not report it. You report it to me. That's the end of it. And if you discuss it, bad things may come your way. Mm. So they're scared off it. And apparently this is a little recurring thing at Vandenberg. Every once in a while, someone walks through this cloaking field and sees something akin to this. And I'll put up.
And so like the people that walk there and kind of unknowingly run into that.
Yeah. So see this ship up here? That's kind of what it looked like. There's the teeny tiny little American flag. And there's a loading bay right there. And this is exactly what they described. Is that crazy or what? So, and it's about the size of an aircraft carrier.
Like oh wow, as big as a ship?
Aircraft carrier, yeah.
Oh wow. That's freaking huge.
It's huge.
Yeah. I mean, compare size to like, let's say like the Tic Tac UFOs. Like, would you think this is bigger or?
Oh, this is way bigger. Yeah. The Tic Tac was probably about the size of the F-18 they pictured right here.
Okay.
So anyway. So I actually bring that up because it kind of ties into, well, it doesn't, but let me finish this guy's with the story this guy was telling in the thing, because I was at the end of that before you guys popped on. So let me share that with everyone else real quick. And this is interesting. This guy sees a Nordic as he's doing a meeting or something like that for a film he's working on. His name's Brent something. Fredrickson? Oh gosh, now I'm forgetting. But here we go.
Just look, I have a higher clearance level than the president.
Sorry.
Now, 1981, I was not a standout in civics. I was like, that's impossible. The president, there is nothing higher than the president. How could the guy who lived next door to me have higher classification than the president? But this is not a guy who lies. I said, well, how did you get that job? And he said, well, I was briefed for months in an underground facility in West Virginia.
This is what I was talking about.
I'm like looking at this person like, I don't even know who this man is anymore. And I said, what was that like? And he said, well, I used to cry myself to sleep every night. By the way, when he said that to me at this lunch, I just got shiver. Yeah. A tough guy is crying himself to sleep every night. What's it take for that to happen? Just look, okay. I have a higher clearance.
That isn't the clip I wanted to show.
What you're trying to find is the clip where he runs into a Nordic over there.
Yeah, exactly.
I saw this interview while we were driving up when we went out of town about 2 weeks ago or a week ago or something like that. And yeah, that interview is good, but his encounters are freaking great. Like, especially that story when he said about the Nordic, like, I don't know.
The story itself was fantastic.
Yeah,
because he's staying in someone's cabin or something like that, like either in Canada or Alaska. I can't remember which. And he goes to this.
It was in because I actually looked it up. It's in Washington.
Oh, it's in Washington. That makes sense too.
Washington State, but like there's some islands.
Yes, that's what it was.
Yeah.
That's what it was. So he goes for this little hike in this tiny little burg of a town. And he crests a ridge and he's about to come up another one. And one of these tall Nordics says to him, "Hi, Brent. Well, you need to turn around." And mind you, that if I remember the story correctly, the Nordic's like 100 yards away, but it sounds like he's right next to him in his head. So he's telepathically communicating this to him.
Exactly.
You need to turn around. So he did it. He turned around and he talked to his buddy. He says, "You're not going to believe what happened to me." "Oh, did you meet one of the Nordic guys?"
Yeah.
What? It's like, "Oh, yeah. We see them all the time." What? Yeah, they got a base over here. They show up like every 3 or 4 months when the energy's right in the area. It's like, you're kidding me. No. Yeah, there's even a story of one of them going into town, hanging out at the bar. So what's it like living here, he asked the alien. And the guys go, well, it's a nice little town. Oh, no, not the town, Earth. I wish I could. I'm not doing the story justice, but holy crap, that's just amazing stuff. So, getting back to my my little fun slideshow, I started out with a. Sorry, let me get it up here. I started out with a slide that was basically, come on, nope, come on. Are we having fun yet?
While you're doing that, so people can look it up. It's Orcas, like orca whale island in Washington State. And so when I heard it, I looked it up right after that.
Yeah,
because you look at it and it's beautiful. So
it's gorgeous,
like very foresty and just like it's an island surrounded by water, and like the shores look. I mean, it looks like something out of that. It looks kind of magical almost, to be honest with you. I'm not gonna lie. So I could see how that would be a perfect hideout for any being.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, but I don't know if you saw David Grush's latest thing in New Mexico where he was part of that. It was like near Dreamland too in New Mexico, and it's their little. Someone there was doing some, like, I guess the local government was doing a speak out kind of thing, tell us the truth. And Grush was asked to explain the various aliens by one of the partners. Well, we've heard about the Greys and the insectoids and the reptilians, and this is AI's version of what they look like. I don't know why he looks like Ragnar Lothbrok, but he does. The Nordic guy.
What is that? World of War.
Yeah, for sure. They look
that's what I think of.
He's supposed to be in a spacesuit, but this is as close as I could get. Again, AI did not do its job, but these are the 4 or 5 main guys. So they got the Nordics, the Greys, the insectoids. That's supposed to be a reptilian, and the plasmoids. Mm-hmm. So, which are pretty cool because they're condensed fields of thought without bodies. They're just floating brain energy, basically.
So, would you consider a plasmoid? Well, people like say, like, when they bring up a category, would you consider them ultra terrestrials instead of extraterrestrials? I would say,
well, apparently they occupy various dimensions, or can occupy various dimensions. So I guess, the first one comes into play for those guys. And Elena Danon's map kind of points to these types of entities too, that she has become aware of. But yeah, I mean, I was saying before that, sorry, I got to do it this way now. That's another Nordic idea. This is kind of, they're all female for some reason. I don't know why I did that, but it did. But this is what Brent encountered, basically. Here's another example. And the reptilians always have pointed ears. I don't get it. This is apparently a image that was sneaked out to the public. And I love the fact that he has a little uniform. You notice the line on the collar there?
Yeah.
That's kind of cool. And then here's the bug alien doorbell guy. Doorbell ring cam.
That guy he's like, yo quiero Taco Bell.
Yeah, for sure. He's totally got a Chihuahua thing going.
It looks more like Mr. Bingleworth.
Yeah, for sure. I went with Xanti Misfits from the old school Outer Limits, or was it Outer Limits? And basically Xanti Misfits were these oversized ants that had faces just like that, and they couldn't destroy themselves for whatever reason. And but they look just like that. They're about that big. So something tells me that's a movie puppet. And I think I've seen that in a film before too. So I don't know. And then, okay, again, insectoids. This is closer to what most people report. And then there's the guys I actually saw myself, which are Charles Hall's Tall Whites. This is from his book. This is what he described to an artist. And I saw both the child and the adult but the adult was female. This one looks more male to me. Had a hint of a breast under her robe. She had these Jedi-like robes she was wearing. But it comes to me. We have the UFO files. We have the descriptions and confirmation of what a lot of people have seen, heard, suspected even. That's all well and good. Great videos, great photos, but no confirmation of aliens. I found that weird. I mean, never mind, Grush talks about it all the time. Yeah, man, all the whistleblowers, really, they say extrabiological entities. Well, there they are. But why aren't they? Yeah. Why aren't they disclosing that? I guess that's my big question.
I think they're gonna get to that. In my opinion, yeah. I think they're leading up to. It's still here.
The drift.
Yeah, it's still drift, but I think it's leading up to something more bigger, in my opinion. I know. I think now, from what I saw, was I think they had Trump be okay with the previous I guess government employees talk now and not have to deal with their NDAs. So yeah. So maybe that will come with like a bigger information,
Could well be. But I thought, well,
and the thing is too, like if say they do come out with everybody's, from my opinion, from what I've seen online, because I like to read people's comments or whatever, like it's either you're damned if you do, if you're damned if you don't, because they'll be like, well, that's BS. I don't believe it. How come they didn't come out with that before? Well, we're doing it now. You wanted it before, but now we're doing it now, and then you're still not gonna buy it. So
right. For sure. We got a question about plasmoids from Polar Knights. Welcome to the show, Polar Knights. Thanks for joining us. Can plasmoids be the border?
Line ghosts.
Borderline ghosts. I think they might be borderline orbs, if I'm being honest. They could be ghosts too, but I mean, from my experience, most ghosts have a personal connection to those they're haunting or to the places they're haunting. Where do you guys stand on that?
Yeah, I would say I wouldn't classify them as the ghosts. I would say more orbs. Yeah, more the orbs, the orbs beings that people are seeing.
Yeah, they seem to be a little more universal and like everywhere.
Yeah. I encountered an orb myself, and I didn't believe that to be a ghost at all. I thought it was whatever it was way higher intelligent being for sure.
Huh. Interesting. The comments thing just froze on me. There we go. I love ghosts. The level of energy need to manifest must be insane. Oh yeah, for sure. Oh yeah. Yeah, that's an interesting point. I mean, I would assume that to manifest would require. I mean, isn't that kind of the thing with battery drain and all that too? That just
the energy.
Sucks up all the energy in the room to make it happen.
Yeah.
That's interesting. That is an interesting point. But then you go to places like under the abandoned insane asylums across America, the famous ones even, or even the less famous ones. But where's the energy coming from there? So they must be drawn to. There must be something concentrated, like underground, some geological thing they're able to tap into. But
water.
I don't know. Water. If you get the right amount of quartz under a given location, that's pretty conductive. Especially if you have iron in the area too, and then you have a natural battery right there. So I mean, that's crazy.
I have a thing I use myself. Sometimes I pull it out. A power plant,
This is cool.
EM pump, and this one has quartz in it. It has actually 3 different crystals in it. It has clear quartz. It has amethyst, and I forget what else. And it works pretty good.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's
Right.
very
And you use that to power your equipment, or is that just to feed the
No,
ghost?
just sometimes depending on where I investigate, I'll throw it on just to experiment, see if it actually ramps up the activity or not.
Okay, gotcha. So you're
And
feeding the ghost
sometimes
energy.
it does. It kind of makes it gives it like a eerie feeling for some reason. Yeah.
Spirit.
Okay.
You instruct Spirit to use that instead of draining our batteries and stuff.
Smart
use that.
move.
Drain
Yeah.
that thing.
I need the link to where to get that because that sounds like a.
We got you.
Yeah, we got you.
Okay, thanks. I didn't really read this one. Maybe they tap into the quantum entanglement. Yeah, that could be drawing power and energy from the multiverse. That could very well be. And whether or not it's a natural thing or something they learn on the other side of the veil, as some people call it, I couldn't even begin to tell you that. But it seems I don't know. Some people just seem to get the hang of it right off the bat, and others, spirits, I should say, and others take a while to manifest. It just kind of depends on the person or the entity or whatever. But the relationship between ghosts and aliens sometimes gets a little muddy, especially if you're dealing with the interdimensional types. And Alinda Danan actually goes into them to some degree, not only with her drawings and such, but with her writing as well. And so I think that does kind of lead us to kind of have to talk about that. Is there a direct correlation to one degree or another between supposed ghost activity and alien activity? My personal take on that is that we are there's too much of a wall there for me between the two different types of encounters. Only because I would find, or I have found in reading, not via experience, but any alien activity that has to do with walking through walls, for example, usually has a technological premise behind it. And it's fascinating because we've heard those abduction stories where there's, they're awakened by a bright light in the room. The whole room lights up, then the walls go absolutely sheer right down to the studs. And these aliens just walk in, grab the people, and are gone.
Yeah.
So that level of intelligent interaction, and even going so far as to immobilize the person, yeah. Is I've not heard that happening in ghost encounters. Have you?
No. I have seen myself. So I seen one time like waking up, and that's the only thing that's kind of like as similar was one time I was waking up, right, and so I was kind of like still in like that little like weird state.
Yeah.
And on my wall in the room one time, it was like how you would say like a bright white light, like a big hole there, like if it was a door there. And then I kind of like looked and I like snapped out of it, like it went away, but it mimicked the door, and there's a door right across from in the room, right in that same area. So I don't know. I think that's just, to me, paranormal wise, I think that was just like more spiritual, something spiritual related. I don't. It had to do with ghosts or UFOs or, I just think that's more like in a spiritual realm. Period. But I've seen ghosts go through a wall, I think.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but not take people. Yeah. No,
yeah. Well, yeah. The immobilization never happens from not only what witnesses say and what I've observed.
Sleep paralysis.
Sleep paralysis. I mean, that's the only thing that could be similar.
Yeah, that could be. But I mean, usually with sleep paralysis, you're aware. You just your eyes can move. It's like that weird drug. Have you ever heard about that paralyzing drug? Only your eyes, you're aware, but everything else is dead except your eyes, or immobile.
You're just missing.
Oh, God.
Yeah, and then there is that too. But there's but that's kind of what sleep paralysis is. It's the natural version of that drug, basically.
Yeah.
But to have, but that's usually where it ends. And there's something spooky in the room. Well, with the abductions, it's like there's something in the. Oh, I'm in the ship. It's just
I'm here and I'm on a table.
exactly.
I'm missing my liver. Like,
Polar Nights, no, but thank you for the compliments.
Are they a father brother?
I am a father, just not her father.
Oh, that's interesting. Polar Nights continues. Some people are seeing part of reality differently than others. That's entirely possible too. But I would still point to the difference between haunting and an alien encounter as being vastly different enough. While there are some stuff overlaps, but I mean not enough for me as an investigator to say, oh, they could be one and the same. The seeing another reality usually happens in the dream state, if you believe in that type of thing. We've all experienced alternate lives in our dreams and stuff like that. I was on a talk show for like 5 different nights in a row. It was kind of funny. And it wasn't my life. It was just something I was doing. It was pretty cool. But do these things interact with the alien world? For me, no. Like I said, there is a definitive wall, and maybe I'm wrong, but I mean, I'd like to think there's an M theory that kind of, or a paranormal M theory that kind of speaks to all of this. But I think there is a differential between the two different things, even if we are dealing, two different experiences, rather, even if we are dealing with the paranormal in general. Let's briefly talk about. Oh, okay, this is the spaceships. I didn't want to go here, but I'll go here anyway. So this is from like the 60s and 70s. Someone drew this up. These are the various types of starships or spaceships that people have seen. For the most part, variations on the theme. But if we go back to Elena Danon's map, she actually went and drew the ships that went with these things. But I don't want to focus on the ships necessarily. What I want to focus on are the aliens, especially this time around. So I know you don't want to. You talked about this before. Hold on. I want to address what Polar Night just said. Seeing is more than believing. Well, not everyone sees what they ought to, too, because we can't see it all. So you could be talking about this bottle is here, but it's in a different dimension, that kind of thing. So you could, I don't think aliens are too bright. Who there? Right. Fine. Would visit us. That's pretty funny. Little down on the human race there. That's okay. But briefly, okay, we've seen a lot of videos. I think most of it's AI regarding, and you live there now, and I think you talked about this before. We did the Miami New Year's Eve alien invasion at the mall there. So most of that seemed kind of made up to me.
Yes, very much.
So
What's funny is they just recently came out about last week. About matter of fact, the Miami-Dade Police Department came out with a video, like an advertisement, and it's a recruiting video, and they use that incident as a recruiting video, and they're like, "Oh, this is gonna be big. We need something bigger than the Miami alien incident." I'm telling you, we'll all make fun of it because it's like a big running joke at this point. But it's pretty cool. It's pretty funny.
What it is for folks that don't know, it was New Year's, like Tim was saying, and it was just a bunch of kids being kids. They were,
I'll say being a-holes, but
they had a lot of like Roman candles. So for those of you that don't know, it's the big long stick that you light on fire and then it shoots out like bombs, right? So they were just shooting Roman candles, which, disclaimer, please don't do that to yourself. You might shoot yourself in the eye or something like that. I don't advise you do that. Coming from you. but they were shooting each other, and it just got to the point where the authorities had to get involved, and they were already pretty much there, being that they were security detail literally a block away from the New Year's celebration that they do there. So they were already in the area.
Yeah, and that being so loud, that pop, we even get that on so for the Ring app, and if you have a Ring in your house, you're gonna use the Neighbors app, and we get that notification all the time. Did you hear that? It sound like gunshots, and it's not. It's literally like fireworks. So that's what people confuse it as. So immediately they're thinking active shooter.
Yeah,
and that's a big tourist spot. You do not, especially on the day like a holiday. That's what really they're most worried about, because you got the crazies out there. And that was a chain reaction to such a big police presence, basically.
yeah.
Now, it was a very interesting, I guess you can say, extraterrestrial alien story that same year. I'm not sure if you heard about it, but it was a flight that was coming from the Bahamas to Fort Lauderdale. And that trip is only about 65 minutes, so like an hour and 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So as they were flying back from the Bahamas to Fort Lauderdale, and it ended up being on Channel 6 News and everything. So as they were flying, the pilot and the passengers, they noticed what seemed to be like a sphere-shaped aircraft that was flying with them for 45 minutes. So almost the whole flight.
Yeah.
But it changed. They seem to say that it changed colors from white, different shades of like green and blue. But mostly white. I don't know if it was to kind of like mimic the background.
Oh yeah, like to blend in with the sky and the clouds.
Right.
Makes sense.
So now they had seen that for 45 minutes. I would get spooked being stuck in the plane. Like, where are we gonna go?
Well, you're rolling tape on that too.
So to me, that's more credible than what the other incident was, and I think you were even showing me like some people like editing it to make it seem like it was like rocket launchers, like the kids had rocket launchers.
Yeah.
And like people just made up edits and just to poke fun at that. But
the footage I saw was, and I'm not even sure it was the same scene, because it looked like it was inside a mall, but it didn't look like the Miami Mall, at least from what I saw of it.
Yeah, I've seen some footage there
and there's these 8 and 10 foot tall aliens marching along, and everyone's running from it, but they seem so out of place. In that they looked like they were cut and paste in, that type of thing. And there was a lot of artifacts in there, a little bit of airbrushing here and there. It just didn't look right.
Here and there.
If you're a fan, the best way I can describe it to you, if you're a basketball fan and you happen to see, let's say if you're a Lakers fan and you see the Lakers playing the Miami Heat, and they show like the arena where the Heat play, Bayside is literally right next to the Miami Heat's arena.
I see. So what your tall dudes walking around wouldn't be unusual.
They'll be wearing basketball jerseys, right?
Right. Trying to see more clearly. That's interesting. Polar Nights makes an interesting point. I don't know that I necessarily want to dive into that right now. Maybe toward the end of I'm going to mark it though as something to hang on to. So, have you guys ever dealt with any UFO cases on yourself?
Cases, no. I wanted to experiment and see if, actually, the only thing I can say I've experimented on or with is it's called Paranormal, and that's like a program. It's a live stream on YouTube, and they put it on like at random times of the day, so you can go on there, and it's a live ITC session that you can do, that you can conduct from your phone or the laptop or whatever. And it's both kind of like Ron's digital seance, where it's like just white noise on top of white noise, filtered white noise, and you will hear voices talking back to you, but it's also a video feed of ITC, white noise, and then looped on top of each other. So you're gonna get like that grainy, mishmash of like the old school TV.
Sure.
All right. So I've done that before where I was doing a session for, I was experimenting. I was doing a session for somebody, Farah, one of our friends, Farah, and she had a cave system behind her house. And she thought something weird was back there and it was killing her livestock. Mm-hmm. So I kind of used that to ask questions, and I got some pretty interesting answers using that. And whatever it wasn't like human or something. It was like something off dimension, basically, really. And then with it, the responses I got during that session was basically something that was ancient living there, and there was native burial grounds there before, or native land there. It said this, whatever it was guarding the land. It don't go inside the caves, and it mentioned her chickens, which was really weird because that's exactly what it killed.
Oh, jeez.
And then another thing too. So with the at least the video feed, every once in a while you'll see like it looked like an alien face will pop up. So this I have used that a couple times, and you see like some type of just like you can either see like a human face pop up. Sometimes it looks like an alien face pop up. So I believe like they can manipulate that, and they're just in the consciousness or the ether somewhere, maybe responding back. But I've seen that. Yes.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, please ask your question, Polar Knight. He's asking it right now. As he types that out, I'm going to put this other question he put up. What if our perception isn't direct recording of reality? What if it's a projection shaped by past experience? And it's entirely possible. It kind of relates to what you just said, actually. Trauma, stress can warp reality. You think we can train the mind to see more clear? Oh, absolutely. Yeah, the Buddhist monks devote themselves to that all the time. Full time. Okay.
Hey,
Cheaty, what's up?
Cheaty.
Let's say a ghost is pre-English.
Pre-English.
Yeah, I'm trying
to put that together. What's pre-English?
Yeah. Sorry,
I see what you're saying. I see. So it's speaking a language prior to English being in existence. How can it communicate?
Got it.
I think that's what he's saying. I think it comes with intention. Something. There's always been that weird little. That is a weird phenomena that I have seen in the spiritual realm of things, like a Mayan ghost. Okay, good example. Where some ghosts can speak and leave EVPs, and they'll even have an accent. Yes. Like there was this German or Austrian ghost that left us an EVP with his accent, but he in life didn't speak English that well. It was very broken, but his English on the EVP was perfect, minus the accent. So yeah, I think it's just something you pick up. You get more of a universal translator thing going, and you're just able to do it. I think it's just a natural accomplishment.
Well,
we agree on that too.
No, yeah. I think just it's a universal language. They're just gonna relate to what you know, and relay that message back to you. Like kind of like an alien species, like the Nordic guy. What if he didn't say, "Hey, Brent," to him and surprise him? What if Brent was a Spanish-speaking guy in Russia or something? He probably would have said the same thing.
Yep.
Knowing what he knows he speaks.
Yeah. Yeah. So there could be a telepathic link to all that. It's when they show up on EVPs that you get a hint that it's kind of they just understand how to communicate with you more effectively. which is interesting. And I've seen that with French investigators. That's pretty cool. There was a supposedly a British ghost in France at some old house in the country somewhere, and it's semi-famous. It's like a local thing, though. And it's during the Franco-British War times. So apparently England got a foothold in a part of France at one point, and this one British captain or something, I'm half remembering the story, stood up to these abusers, these British guys who were abusing this, this French town, and he stood up to them. He got killed for his efforts, but he was kind of a local hero because of it. And when the French investigators asked their question in French, they got a reply in French with a British accent. You could hear it. It was pretty incredible. It was pretty incredible. It's like, oh my gosh, that's great. Oh,
so
man.
I wanted to run something by you. Remember,
Sure.
I had mentioned it in our show when you went our show. So it was kind of like a dream visitation. I'm pretty sure you've had one of those before. And then this was the first kind that I've had of one like this, period, that had to do with aliens. But I've never had one. I hadn't had one again. And then this was around the time to time frame it. Remember before the whole what the hell was that thing that they were looking at, and Avi Loeb started coming out?
Three Eye Atlas.
Three Eye Atlas. This was before Three Eye Atlas, right?
Two Eye Atlas.
Huh?
Two Eye Atlas or the first one?
No, like maybe like a month before that even was a thing.
Okay, gotcha.
So I don't know if that was like March or February of last year, something like that. So this is what happened to me. So I was taking a nap, but when I was taking a nap during this time, I have Bluetooth headphones that I listen to, and sometimes I listen to like binaural beats or whatever, and I kind of like fell asleep. So what happened to me, like I can tell I was kind of like not really sleeping, kind of like more in like in a lucid state.
Yeah.
And I heard, so what got me was, what kind of made me snap out of it was like I heard like a transmission type of thing, like a static radio, like shh. I heard that first, right? Like a static radio station. I have it written down here because I wrote it down immediately when I woke up what happened. And when I heard that, it sounded like voices, like talking. And then the talking, when that happened, I've kind of like, since I kind of lucid dream all my life, I've learned to focus in when that happens. So I did that, or during meditation or whatever. So I did that. I kind of like tuned in, and then one voice just like stood out. And then the voice, when it did that, when it did that, like all I can tell you, it looked like a TV screen. Hey, where the hell did you go?
Oh no, I'm here.
Oh, okay.
I'm just zooming in on you so you can tell your story.
Okay, so it looked like a TV screen, like an old, like
the tube.
Kind of like a little tubes thing, like something you see like on a spacecraft. That's exactly what it looked like. It looked like it was like fuzzy, and a TV screen like popped up. In the screen was something that was like an alien, basically. And then that was kind of like, okay. And then it was alien looking. I remember that specifically. The eyes were like really big. So I went looking through like a whole like gray type of alien database to see which one this looks closely to.
Yeah.
They were big, but they were like a little slanted, like just a tad. And
you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna send you. I did it again. I hit the wrong button. So sorry. Oh, it's not working now. There we go. I'm gonna send you the Elena Denon map. Yeah. It's huge. I'll send it to you though.
You should definitely send me that, because I'm gonna tell you, because
go ahead.
So it was kind of blue. I didn't notice a nose, so it was like no nose, but I didn't see that, and I saw like the mouth. And then it just, the word it said, it was like it said at that point, I don't know how true that is or whatever, but it said basically the world's in danger. And then I had asked during this, when they said that, I said, and it said something about like it happened before, and I was like, well, when did it happen before or something? And then that they helped before. I go, they said that they helped before. I go, when was this? And it said this is the words it says, first time during COVID. I don't know what that meant. And then and I said, okay, who was it? And then it said the Syrians. Nowhere in my mind had I ever even thought about. I had to look them up. I go, Syrians. So I looked them up and trying to see if they looked like what that thing looked like, what it said. Because I mean, when I tell you, like, this was not in my mind at all, but this was like so super random. And then when it said that, I kind of was like, okay. And then it like faded out, and then that's it. And then I kind of like snapped out of it. And then I really woke up. And then after that, we had a live show to do, and I was just, all I could think about was that. I was like, what the hell?
Oh man,
that was freaking crazy. But I thought that was pretty interesting because I don't know who had sent that message, and I don't know. Then after that, like a month later, the whole 3-Eye Atlas was a thing, and I was like, oh my god.
Interesting. That's
cool.
Like,
I don't know.
Huh. That's cool. I dig it. I dig it. Okay, I'm gonna send you the Elena Danon thing right now, and you get to take. Is a PDF okay? Can I send it to you like that?
Yeah.
Okay. Polar Nights. Yes, we do. Jen and I do have a YouTube channel. It's just like how you see it right there, where my finger's pointing. 305 Paranormal. Oh, thank you. Big screen.
Yep. Big screen.
Just like that, 305 Paranormal on YouTube, IG. You can check us there. And TikTok, sorry. I always forget TikTok. I don't know why.
Right on TikTok, IG, and YouTube.
Yeah, IG and YouTube for sure.
Latina mother-in-law. We all know that. We all. Oh my god. I think that was like a good thing for a lot of people.
For sure. Okay, it'll be coming to you in a little bit. It's kind of a big file, so but
it's send down an email, right?
Yes, and it's going out by email, so it'll get to you in a little bit. It's about a third of the way processing the image right now. And I have a pretty fast connection, but there's so that's coming your way. Okay, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I wanted to show you also something I found. I thought was kind of interesting because it looks pretty convincing. I mean, not saying that all the random like videos online you see are legit or not, but if it's an example of like an insectoid that was found, I think it's the most like kind of looks like legit. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Like it would.
Do you know where it is? Do you have an example of it?
Yeah. I mean, I have a window. I can like present it.
Okay, let me close my thing and then I'll let you present it. Absolutely. So go ahead.
Let me see.
Dun, 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 dun. And so the email went through, by the way.
Okay, good. So I don't know. Put that. There you go. You got it. Okay. I'm gonna make it big.
Okay.
I don't know. It has volume, but
there it is. There.
Oh yeah.
There.
Oh yeah, the skeleton they found in the yeah. I have seen this.
Yeah. And like what's interesting to me is like the back of his head. It's kind of like elongated. You know? But
this is in like Russia or something.
Yeah, this was in Russia, and I don't know if it's like it looks like insectish to me, but
it kind of reminds me of those mummified ones they had in Mexico.
It has a weird tail. You see like that weird ass tail it has in the back.
Yeah, kind of protrudes out.
I would poke it with a stick because I'm not touching that.
Yeah.
I'm not. when I poke it with a stick. What gets me with this video is like the eyes creep me out because it's almost like it's still, it's not as, it's open, but it almost looks like it is actually looking at him.
Yeah.
Almost.
It kind of gives me like that weird feeling like it's like dying, but like looking at him like, bro, stop poking me.
It didn't,
Like,
stop poking me.
It's dying.
Like
I'm
that.
looking at him right now. Yeah, that's creepy.
That's gnarly.
That is gnarly. That's pretty cool. Thanks for sharing that.
There you go. I thought that was pretty interesting.
Okay, why can't I get rid of it?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate that.
So so with the Syrians, I was trying to think of, so I went down a rabbit hole when that happened.
Yeah.
I was thinking, what alien races do they say that normally are friendlies? So they say the Nordics are, right? And then I was trying to go down to see which ones are helping us,
Right. What'd you find out?
Well, I was gonna say, does that map have that by any chance or no?
Yeah, it does actually. Can you remove your thing from the what's it? It says kick you out, and I don't want to kick you out. There you go. Perfect. Yeah, let me call up that thing again real quick. So I did send this to you.
So from what I've seen on that, as definitely like Nordic. What I did notice, or encountered when I looked up the whole Syrian species was that there's 3 of them. I didn't know that either. So, and then there's one that's like not the friendly, and then there's 2 that would be.
So this is the gigantic map. It's just freaking huge, and it covers various parts. Like the Lyra star system has all these dudes in it, which is crazy. And then there's the rest of the night sky, which is here. And she has lines going to where all these guys are from, which is just freaking crazy. But you were talking about, were you saying the Nordics? Well, I got 1 or 2 examples of those guys like over here-ish. Here's one. If they're blue, they're good guys. If they're red, they don't. No, they're not. If they're in black, they're kind of neutral. So,
you mean like black?
Like the lettering is black, yeah.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, gotcha.
Okay, if the lettering's red, they're not our friends or not friendly to us in general.
Gotcha.
This is one of the more interesting ones. These guys are apparently kind of hybrid, which is bizarre. I just found that interesting. I was pointing out earlier that these are the guys that they saw in, I want to say Mexico, but I think I'm Peru.
Oh,
the hospital in Peru.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the guy. That's pretty cool.
That does look like.
We call the Nordics aliens here the Watchers. Yes, they do. That's true. I'm going to pull that up. Yeah, they call them the Watchers. And we've had Watchers here in California, too. There's a mountain here called Umanum. It's a Native American term. And I forget what it means. I think it means very high or something like that. But Umanum now has back in the 60s, an Air Force radar installation was put up there. It was it was radar station. And they've always been around. It's pretty cool.
Is it like an area that's restricted?
It was. It only just recently got reopened to the public, and now it's a part of the park system up there. You can actually visit it and take tours of the base and everything. But
they all these national parks that they have the restricted areas that they have military in them.
Yeah,
you gotta wonder why.
Yeah. Well, there's a few things about that, but yeah, if you go look, I just sent you this so you can look at it for yourself. Yeah. But there's all kinds of humanoid types, and a lot of them look really familiar. If they got the mixed letters like that, that means they're kind of 50-50 on whether sometimes they're good to us, sometimes they're not, that kind of thing. And everything's in French, so you may have to run it through a translator. But
I can actually chat GPT to make it in English.
Yeah, But here's our reptilian friends with the wings, and they kind of look demonic.
Mhm.
It's kind of interesting. They come
And what is
from.
that green symbol? Like,
One more time?
like, you see, like right there where your cursor's at. See how it has like no right there, like that green. What is that?
The green guy right here.
Yeah, like the green.
Yeah, okay. Let me show you. There's a legend down over here. It actually goes into the Empire Sierra Akar or Siakar. So apparently these are different alliances of these various star systems. The Council of Five, the small species of the small gray, species of the grand gray. So they're the taller grays, yeah.
Yeah.
And then if you here's a legend. If it's blue, they're on our side. They're benevolent. They're neutral if they're black, and if they're red, they're malevolent. And that took a while to translate. Let me tell you, I had to, you know.
Oh my God.
Hey, are you the blue or the red kind?
Yeah, we went the blue ones. Blue one's good. And there's some interesting things she makes to. Well, okay, so there's the X-Files metamorph. Apparently, is an alien type. You remember that? I don't know if you watched X-Files, but there was that guy who lived under, like, in various weird conditions, and he changed shapes all the time.
Yeah.
Apparently, that's an alien type. And then there's this guy, which I found extra fascinating because this guy is the guy. It's the exosuit, actually, that the aliens wore in Independence Day.
Yeah, that's exactly what he said.
That's exactly what that is.
Will Smith was like punching.
Exactly. He punched in the face.
Yeah.
Welcome to Earth.
Yeah.
He likes hitting things, doesn't he?
Well, you know, they say that they drip kind of like info in movies.
Oh yeah, sure. I mean, we've seen a lot of these dudes.
Exactly.
So there's this guy who kind of resembles the dead guy that we just saw. Kind of.
It kind of does, actually.
Kind of. There's probably a closer version somewhere in here, but her detail is amazing. I mean, can you take it for what it is? You can, but I say take everything with a grain of salt because there's always a little bit of embellishment here and there.
And how does she encounter these? Because she channels them, or what was it?
She more than channels them. When she was abducted as a little kid, the bad guys. I'm not sure who in this pantheon of characters put an implant in her brain, and when she was rescued in the middle of this process by the Nordic types, and when they tried to remove it, they realized they couldn't. And yay, welcome home, Heidi. Sorry, when I got wow, Polar Nights. I've been ignoring you, dude. I'm so sorry. You have so many things to say. I'll get to that in a minute. But so instead, I think by her request, if I remember the story right, she says, "Well, since it's transmitting information, can I talk to you?" And so they rigged it. They tinkered with it a little bit, and now it's a direct communication device with one of these Nordic guys and their team. And so through them, they have described these things, and apparently they're able to transmit very, very, specific things, including what things look like and how they operate and what their ships look like. Because if you look carefully, they show you the creature and then what kind of ships they have, right. Which is pretty cool.
That is very cool. Yeah.
So, but yeah, there's a myriad of things. And this is just the Orion star cluster, and where all these guys are from. Just crazy stuff. Just amazing. And like the avian guys are here, which is kind of cool.
See, that actually, one right, you know what? That one looks more like that thing.
This guy here,
that looks like the one that was on the ground.
Yeah. For sure. Which guy showed up on your TV or on the screen?
Yeah, so he had like the typical type of, how like alien, like a gray look, but the eyes were not skinny. They were like really big and more like a slant.
Okay.
A little slant to it.
Did we see him? Kind of like this guy? Was it like this guy?
It kind of looked like that because he was very wide.
Okay. Weird.
It
That's
did
another
kind of
thing.
not with the.
Okay.
It looked more like the one on top.
Yeah, because the tail.
Over here.
This was very thin, like just like that.
Okay.
Dude.
Huh. Okay. Okay. That's
And
pretty
I
cool.
see that one. I would have to like look that one up.
Probably
Translate that. I guess I would translate the whole map in English. And
probably just the things, because I think most of this is how it's pronounced phonetically.
Oh, true.
So illum might be illuminous or illuminated, but I think most of it is as is. The only thing that required translation on my part was all this in the legend, all that stuff there. So something to, if you want to translate the rest of it, you could see if there is a French word in there, you should be able to pick it up.
Yeah.
But
I'll try that. Yeah, I'll go through that and see which one closely resembles it, because
you know what? Polar Knights asked a very interesting question, and I have a very interesting answer because she actually included it here.
Oh.
And the answer is yes. This guy right here, if you see this creature, he's apparently an android, inorganic, which I'm sorry, my French is horrible, but there you have it, inorganic. That guy's an android or techno-organic. One more time.
So he's like a bot?
Yeah, it's a bot. Yeah, full on, but it's techno-organic, so it has biological elements to it, but it probably has like a more computerized brain or programmable brain, even though it may be biological.
That's what I've heard of different theories saying that grays, they're not even I guess I don't know if it's the smaller grays or which ones are they, but they
the little ones. Yeah.
The little ones, right? But they're not even
Apparently they're just programmed androids, very well programmed androids, so much so that some reports have said that a couple of them have gone rogue and self-aware. Like AIs, and they want rights and homes and the whole thing. But there's another gray guy here for you to look at. But again, and there's your elongated head. That looks familiar. We've seen that on Egyptian stuff.
So interesting with the Egyptians, right? And that type of, and a lot of, and in Hindu, because Hindus religion, I think they believe more in like other species. One is there's a French, I think it's French, as a matter of fact. I wish I can go over there and like sit down in one of these lectures, but there's a group in France that also does some type of ITC work where, I forget exactly how they do it, and I haven't come across his page. I have him on my Facebook, but I haven't ran into him in a while. But they're French people, but I just like look at their videos. Yeah. And they do something where same thing, like a visual ITC, and a lot of the people that they get on their visual screen, a lot of them have like the dot, like a Hindu dot, but they look so much kind of like the one that you showed, but like maybe like with a dot. A lot of them look like some weird type of Egyptian person, like very like old. And I mean, pretty interesting because they say that, that's
like they look like pharaohs and stuff.
Pharaohs, and they look like just old, like Hindu, like type of race. And then, that's they're obviously very old. I found that pretty interesting because they don't look like the norm. They'll have like their relatives, people sitting in the audience. They have like normal people come through, but they also have like something that you're like, that's weird. Oh, there's one, I'll have to try to find it and like show it to you. There's an alien species that looks like a cat, right? I forget what they're called. I've seen that come through on one of their on their videos. Tim, did you leave me?
Timmy.
Where's the Jedi? I don't know.
Well, I guess this is
Tim, where the hell are you at, boy?
So this is
I don't just do the eat snails and the
coast to coast takeover.
Oh my gosh. Oh, you know what? Maybe because of hold on.
Oh,
Because it's on a network.
The time.
I don't know, Cheaty.
Hi. I'm back. You can see my messy den. I don't know what happened. I think I clicked a different button, but you know what? Just in time to say goodbye. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you so much for joining us. Jen Mondo, thanks for coming down for the second half. Sorry everyone gets to see my messy den, but there it is. That's why I had my background. But thank you so much for your questions in the chat. Thank you for watching and attending us. And Mondo and Jen stay around for just a second afterwards. Everyone else, take care. My name is Tim Sedano. This has been Paranormal Insight, and we'll see you next time. We'll see you next time. This is the United Public Radio Network, 107.7 FM in New Orleans and 105.3 in the Gulf Coast. UPRN, talkradio.com. Esoteric program.